Welcome back to Department 88, the Leadership Edition. I'm your host, Amy Charbonneau, and this is the third episode in our little mini series on leadership. If you've been following along, we have been exploring the power of mentorship, the joy that fuels resilient leadership, and now we're going to go into the how. Today's episode is called Rewiring the Mind, How Neurocoaching and Mentorship Unlock Transformational Leadership. Because every breakthrough in leadership begins with one thing, a renewed mind. You're well familiar by now, if you've been listening to the Department 88 podcast, with Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is a life verse for me because it reminds me that transformation is not external, it's internal. You cannot lead change you have not first experienced. I often tell people you can only lead someone else as far as you've gone. Okay, and so we often try to fix leadership challenges by changing systems, strategies, or structures, but lasting change starts with neural renewal. It's a rewiring of the belief system that drives how we think, feel, and act. This is where neurocoaching comes in. It bridges faith, science, and transformation in a way that's practical, sustainable, and powerful. Every leader operates from internal programming, subconscious patterns that have been built over time. Those patterns determine how we handle stress, how we communicate, how we respond to failure, and even how we perceive people. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, I know better, but I keep reacting the same way, then you've bumped into what neuroscientists call automatic neural loops. Here's the great news, though. Those loops can be undone and renewed. Through neurocoaching, we bring awareness to those thoughts, anchor them in truth, and literally create new neural pathways that support healthy leadership habits. Things like emotional regulation, active listening, confidence, and my favorite, joy. And this process aligns wonderfully with scripture. In 2 Corinthians 10:5, we find this verse that says, we take every thought captive to make it obedient to Christ. This is not just theology. This is neuroscience in action. Here's something powerful to think about. Mentorship accelerates mind renewal. When you're in a relationship with someone who models peace, integrity, and joy, your brain mirrors their neural patterns through observation, a process called relational neuroplasticity. That's why Jesus didn't just teach the disciples, he walked with them. They didn't just learn information, they experienced transformation through their connection to him. Mentors help reveal the blind spots in our thinking, the mental defaults that limit our growth. In neurocoaching, we call those limiting beliefs. They're often formed early in life and reinforced by repetition. Things like, I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified to leave. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. I can't take a day off. People only respect me when I perform. Those thoughts operate in the background until someone, a mentor or coach, holds up a mirror and says, let's take a look. Let's take that thought captive and align it with truth. So we have some amazing tools that we use in neurocoaching, and tools I learned from Dr. Shannon Irving, and they are simple but incredibly powerful if you do it. Okay, so this is why I tell people I only work with people who are ready for change, because you can get it, but it's going to take about 2.5 months of intentional discipline in a couple areas, and it's powerful, and you'll be a new person thinking in new ways in no time. So remember what we talked about in the last episode. Something happens. There's a circumstance at work, a situation, an issue, maybe a team conflict or a financial challenge. Your brain assigns meaning to that thing. And then there's a feeling that the thought creates, maybe anxiety or fear. And over time, if that's repeated, it becomes this belief that's like, I'm not enough. I can't trust people. I'm never going to reach my goals. I'm going to have to work the rest of my life, things like that. And then because we believe that, our beliefs drive the choices that we make. Okay. And then those decisions actually guide our actions. And then the actions actually become our outcomes. And so it could be like, I'm just going to have to work hard. So then you just give up one day, be like, well, I'll just do it tomorrow because I'm going to work hard the rest of my life. I'm never going to get anywhere. And so you procrastinate. I'd like to tell people, if you're in a pattern of procrastination or perfectionist performance, okay, you're butting up against beliefs that are challenging the things you think you want, where you're trying to go, your belief system saying, no, we don't believe that. And so it often shows up in our life as procrastination or perfectionist performance, okay? The only way to change the result is to change the belief. We gotta get to the root, friends. That's what renewing the mind actually looks like. We identify those old limiting beliefs, we replace them with truth, and rehearse that truth until it becomes your new neural pathway. Every organization reflects the emotional and mental health of its leadership. You cannot build a peaceful culture from a chaotic inner world. I've seen it over and over, and people that I've worked with are experiencing this over and over. But once a leader renews their inner patterns, everything shifts. Communication gets clear, innovation increases, conflict decreases, people start to feel safe again. And when you lead from peace, you give others permission to do the same. That's why leadership transformation always starts with self-awareness and joy. Dr. James Wilder calls this joy capacity, your brain's ability to return to peace after a challenge. The higher your joy capacity, the faster you can bounce back and the steadier your leadership becomes. That's the heart of resilient leadership. If you're ready to start rewiring your mindset, here's some daily practices you can implement today. Number 1, morning alignment. Start every day by declaring truth over your mind. I am joyful. I am peaceful. I'm a wise leader who carries divine strategy. When you speak truths like this, you activate your brain's reticular activation system to look for evidence to align with it. So you start saying, I'm peaceful. Your brain starts looking for things that are peaceful. Okay. If you're joyful, it looks for things that bring you joy. If you're wise, it looks for ways that you carry wisdom. Number 2, catch and replace. Now, when a limiting thought surfaces, and this is found in resistance, like you start to say something new that you don't really believe, you feel resistance in your body. It can show up in your body somewhere. And next month, we're going to have Dr. Sean Flanagan come talk about the nervous system and how it contributes, to this process. But when a limiting thought surfaces, pause and ask yourself, is it true? Okay. Not is it true based off my past experience? Is it true at a fundamental level? Number 2, is it serving me? Does it align with who God says I am? And then replace that with a declaration of truth. Now, this has to be repeated. And in coaching, there's a few other tools that we use to really help sever that pathway. Number 3, reflect and rewire. So every week, I want you to take time to journal moments where you reacted out of fear or frustration. Ask God to reveal the root belief beneath that reaction and replace it with a new one grounded in grace and purpose. Now, I realize at some level, some of you are going to say, oh, that was just hokey, whatever. This is so real. I'm not even lying right now. This is the key when we open up our heart to be willing to say, okay, God, reveal the root. beneath this action or reaction. Okay. And then if we're brave enough, we can change it. Okay, but it requires, like, we got to get some gumption. Okay, we have to stir up a little passion inside of us. Like, I'm done being controlled and functioned by that old limiting belief. That's not even who I really am. And if you're like me, you've probably experienced some situations in life where you're like, there's got to be something different. There has to be a better way. And good news, there is. Number 4, practice joy activation. Joy is the fastest way to reset your brain from stress. Gratitude, laughter, and worship all boost dopamine and oxytocin, which help your mind and body return to peace. Start laughing, find some jokes, a comedy, bounce around on a mini trampoline, go down a slide or sit on a swing. Spend some time around kids who are playing in a playground. Let yourself release gratitude, laughter, turn up some fun, happy dancing worship music, get your brain flooding your body with these awesome chemicals, and change your focus. Okay. Number 5, stay mentored. Transformation accelerates in relationship. So invite people you trust to give you feedback. Ask questions of those closest to you. Surround yourself with mentors and coaches who call out your potential instead of reinforcing your pressure. Friend, when your mind is renewed, your leadership is so transformational. You stop striving for control and start leading from confidence. You stop reacting to problems and start creating solutions. The best part, renewed leaders reproduce renewed cultures. Joy-based leadership multiplies through mentorship, through modeling, and through everyday presence. When people experience your peace, they feel safe enough to grow. And that's what creates lasting influence. If you've been listening to this series and you're realizing, I need to renew my mind, not just my methods, I would love to help you. This is what I do every day through Awake and Joy Leadership Coaching. It's a faith-centered, neuroscience-informed process that helps leaders identify the hidden thoughts keeping them stuck and rewire their minds for joy, confidence, and clarity. If your leadership feels heavy, or if your team is disconnected, or if you're carrying more than you should, I want to invite you to book a free 15-minute phone call with me at the link in the description show notes below. We will walk through what's blocking your joy or clarity and uncover 1 or 2 mindset shifts that could change everything for you and your team. Because when you renew your mind, you renew your leadership. And when joy leads, transformation follows. Leadership begins in the mind, friends, and flows from the heart. When you allow God to renew your inner world, He'll expand your outer influence. So may this week be a reset for your thoughts. May you feel peace where pressure once lived, and may the joy of the Lord renew your strength, your clarity, and your purpose. You're not just a leader, you're a transformer. Keep leading with joy. I'm cheering for you, and I'll see you next week at Department 88. Bye for now.